So, guys, I have no clue if you can see me at the moment. Here it says that I'm offline. It says privacy, I'm on private. So maybe I should change that to public. Okay, so let's see. Um, Again, hi everybody. I'm back for the I don't know what time. This is So let's say the first one was a tulpa, the second one was a doppelganger, and this should be the real me, but we don't know. As the fireman said, I am very far away, and that I am indeed. So at the moment, as far as I can see myself. I think this is working. I'm just double checking my computer. Really, apologies for the technical difficulties until now. This is the Twin Peaks live final dossier mystery revealed spoiler. It's going to be filled with spoilers, a spoilers review. I don't see any chat, so I have no clue if that's working, but at least you can see me. That's what's important. So let's get straight to it. Um, this is the book, Twin Peaks, The Final Dossier, a novel by Mark Frost. Um, what to say? So for those of you, again, I'm repeating here, spoilers, because you should watch Twin Peaks. You should watch season one. You should watch season two. You should watch the movie Fire Walk with Me. You should watch The Missing Pieces from the Blu-ray set that came out a couple of years back, and you should watch Twin Peaks: The Return or season three. After all that, you should read the Twin Peaks, the Final Dossier. Now, before this book came out, we had The Secret History of Twin Peaks, also by Mark Frost. This one also came out. Wait, I don't know if am I public? I only have one person watching me. I have no clue. I have no chat. I have nothing. I can't see chat. I can't see anything. So let me just try to figure this out. Because if I think I see myself, but nobody's there. So I don't know if people aren't refreshing or I don't know what's going on. I hope you can see me. If you can, I'm here uh, talking about these books. Now, let me just find a window where I can actually interact with you guys properly in the hopes that the chat starts running. So, The Secret History of Twin Peaks was not very revealing. The book came out right before the series. So, I guess, in a way, you had to. Mark Frost didn't want to deliver too much because it came out really relatively short, considering that we had to wait 25 years for season three to come out, not knowing even if it ever would. Um, it was a short wait between the publication of this book and season three, but it wasn't very revealing. Now, after all is said and done, it's an interesting reread because it's more abstract in many ways, as is season three. Totally opposite thing to this one here, to the Final Dossier. It's the opposite of abstract. It's the opposite of the way season three was portrayed. You could say that this kind of tells you a little bit what happened before season three, 25 years or so before season three. And you can also, Nick says all good. Finally. Guys Cafe says, hey, Dacob, finally catch you online. Perfect, guys. Good to know. So it gives us a little bit of insight about, what happened during these 25 years to mostly the main characters that we've been kind of thinking about for these 25 years from Twin Peaks. And then it gives us a little bit of what goes down, let's say, during the end of season three and perhaps beyond the end of season three, but it doesn't give us much insight into actually. It gives us hints where Cooper might be now that season three is over. It's interesting that this dossier is compiled by Tamara or Tammy Preston, in September 2017. So we are in the present time. So we're kind of led to believe that what went down in season 3 happened almost in real time to our time in a way, because Tamara does mention the sheriff's office station, the many people seeing the battle between Cooper and the doppelganger. She even remembers seeing the British guy, or with a glove as she calls him. So she remembers seeing a lot of things, and yet then she spent some time in Twin Peaks trying to, figure out more details about the inhabitants of Twin Peaks. So this is more or less the book, and then she gives us, details and insight, everything from Leo Johnson to Shelley Johnson to Audrey Horne to even Annie Blackburn. But it's so fascinating to me. Oh wait, what does the comment say? Nick says it's terrible. It's a horrible book. Nothing connects, and Mark Frost gave up. Things don't connect, and everything is bad and dark. Guys Cafe says, so Mark has written a spin-off? No, it's not a spin-off. It's a kind of a between season 2, season 3 happenings. During season 3, the happenings explained by Tamara after season 3 ends, and then Tamara telling us where things might go. In a way, you read between the lines there in some instances. Now, my biggest, of course, I'm happy to receive anything Twin Peaks related. I'm a total Twin Peaks, victim. Everything from the T-shirts to the books to the Blu-rays, the DVDs, what have you. Lunch boxes. Oh yeah, cards. But this book should have been, I don't want to say that this book should have been the series, but I think that the series and the book should have merged together in one. I'm not saying that the book delivered what the series didn't deliver. No, the book was flat in many respects, because it felt like, let me quickly fill the voids, the gaps, everything that seemed so abstract and not really explained in the show is now, most of it, is now the biggest kind of question marks, are not explained in the book. But they're explained in the book. I get it, it's an FBI dossier kind of style. It's not supposed to be this, even though it says a novel. I mean, let's not forget that right there, tiny, underneath the final dossier, we have a little tiny where it says a novel, not a wannabe looking like a dossier kind of thing. So for a novel, it's pretty much very like, okay, Audrey Horne, this happened to her, this happened to her, that. Leo Johnson, this happened to him, this happened to him, this happened to him. Benjamin Horne, this happened to him. Divorce, this happened to him. Donna, that happened to her. And there's like no build up to anything. It's just literally going through all the numbers and delivering on a silver platter very easily those that I have considered personally magical, wonderful questions left as voids after Lynch was through with Twin Peaks season 3. So, you know what I mean? I felt like it was unnecessary. It feels good, perhaps, for those who really were needing so much some sort of answer to certain questions. I didn't need those answers. The book is amazing because at least it focuses, let's say, 90%, 99% only on the inhabitants of Twin Peaks, that we have been not given really the way that we were expected to be given, the storylines and plot lines of these characters, or the visibility on camera of these characters in the actual season 3. So that lack of their presence in many respects throughout these 18 hours of movie, we want to call it movie, David Lynch and Mark Frost, mostly David Lynch, we have been given not so much airtime or type of kind of representation and interaction of certain characters that we wish to have received. And now we get those kind of fillers through this book. It feels off to me. It's a very strange Melinda is back. Hi, Melinda. Thanks for coming back. Sorry for the technical difficulties before. Um, it feels a bit off to me, and quite frankly, um, I loved the series as is. Figuring out or having thinking why. This is the thing. You wait 25 years. The show starts full of questions, full of riddles. Certain riddles are just dropped there like Lynch is telling us right away, we're never going to get back to this. I'm just going to throw another little mystery there and let's move on. So you wait 25 years and you get this show which is full of questions, and then just a couple of months after that you get a book that explains the mysteries. Why the need to explain the mysteries? You know what I mean? Like, then why create them in the first place if you're going to wait, if you're going to let people wait only up 2 months or 3 months between the end of the show and now the publication of the book? Wasn't Lynch all about keeping the mystery alive? And now, like, knowing that Sarah Palmer was the girl in New Mexico that, swallowed, not willingly, but the girl, this is a hard grammatical cut. Wait, so the girl who got the moth frog to come into, no, that's not right. The frog moth came into her. She was in some sort of trance and opened her mouth, and the frog moth entered it. So, those questions were there for a reason. Lynch did not tell us who she was for a reason. But Mark told us just a couple of months after the show ends, like, no, that was Sarah Palmer, guys. And I'm also going to reveal some juicy information on Philip Jeffries, which Lynch did not want to reveal, and more details about Cooper, which Lynch did not really want to reveal. And there's a lot that is just Audrey Horne. What a wonderful mystery. Yes, it was frustrating while we were watching and we saw the last scene with Audrey, and then when the show ended, we were like, what? That's all we get with Audrey? These weird fight scenes with this husband who maybe she's just dreaming up, and then there's this dance scene in the roadhouse, and then there's this waking up in this white room. And I loved being frustrated about it as well. I loved imagining what it was, and now Frost just tells us, don't stop imagining. Stop imagining right there, because this is what went down. That wonderful scene with the glass cube, the secrets it held, the mystery behind it. Who was this millionaire or billionaire that built this glass cube? Did this person, did this creature, whoever this was, did they want to capture Cooper as he kind of tries to exit the Black Lodge, or this other entity which passes through so fleetingly and kills these two innocent kids? Well, innocent, we don't know how innocent they were, but we presume they were, unless Mark Frost doesn't write a book about Tracy as well, and then sooner or later we're going to find out more about her too. I don't want to know these things. After a certain point, the beauty of Twin Peaks: The Return was the not knowing. And that glass cube, did you remember, guys? Like, we were waiting 25 years, and then the first scene is so long and slow and paced. And we're in this room in which we have this glass cube, and our minds start thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and so many processes start. I'll never forget that moment. It was wonderful for me to start questioning immediately. And I get the answer. Oh, yeah, okay. It was a doppelganger. It's his trying to capture Judy, the experiment, the mother, whatever you want to call her, make her copulate with this Beelzebub situation, and being not Bob alone, but I think the idea was the Bob connected with Cooper, or the evilest part of Cooper, the shadow self of Cooper, which is the doppelganger. So this evil Cooper with Bob together had the strength to maybe copulate with Judy. Not Bob alone. Bob needed Cooper. Maybe that was what he wanted to do all along. To get inside of Cooper, possess him, possess the worst part of him, to have even more evil on his side. And then as that unity of Bob and Coop, Evil Coop, try to, create this unity with Judy or Jaude or Jude or Jude, whatever you want to call her, or whatever you want to call it, and create, as Tamara mentions in the book, to create this ultimate evil that would change the world forever or destroy the world forever, whatever have you. And now we have the answer to that, and I didn't want that answer. I really didn't. I don't know. Let me read your comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. The guy Skyflex says, "Hey Dacob, you would like to make up your own fan-made cut?" No, of the series, I would not do my own fan-made, like a recut of season 3. It's beautiful as is. No, never. If Lynch wanted it that way, I get it. I respect it, and I went with the flow in a way. Like it drew me in the way it was, and as abstract as it was. So no, I wouldn't necessarily, think about re-editing it or recutting it. No, not at all. But I would not have published this book. That. Yes, it's great also from a gossipy point of view to like have answers. But now that I have them, I ask myself, did I really need them? No. It flattens everything out, that depth that Lynch created with these open question marks. It was a huge depth. It was rich and textured, and now it's just like all pushed up to the surface again and flattened, and it's right there. I'll get used to that too. It's not like I have a choice. I read the books. No, it's in my head. But yeah. Nick says, "This is why I don't want Mark Frost to do his own Twin Peaks. All questions would be answered, and it would be another terrible show, like something on NBC." Agaska says, "It could have been a high mystery, but with more of the ones we love. But David didn't want to make us happy. They wanted us to meditate." But listen, why is meditation not making us happy? I'm fine with, because as I said, in my videos, every time I make a video on Twin Peaks, some people don't get this, and some people do, but it's okay. We're all different. We don't all have to get everything, and we all don't have to get everything in the same way. That's the beauty of the world. We're all different. That's fine. But I loved to let go of my concept of time, of this frantic way of life, and just float in this wonderful pace, rhythm, and energy that Lynch created with Twin Peaks Season 3. And that's what it was all about. At the end of the day, it wasn't about trying to figure out the mathematical structure, logic behind what character did what, for what reason, why, because of who, and for what, reasoning in the future. Doesn't matter, really. To me, the beauty of Twin Peaks Season 3 was letting images and moods, musics, tones, composition of the cinematography of everything just work on me, influence me, not from a logical point of view, but influence me from an aesthetical point of view, which is very emotional. And I have the feeling, yes, it's sad to read these stories about Donna, and it looks like Mark Frost was thinking about Lara Flynn Boyle while writing it, because it seems a little bit like Lara Flynn Boyle's story, and it's touching, and it's emotional in a different way, but it's very simplistic, it's flat. So it's emotional to read about Donna. Yes, it's sad. These stories have a sadness to them, but they end there. The emotions I feel when I watch episode 8, and it was so funny, out of my cards, I pulled out one card to play with today, for this video. Turns out it was an 8. What a coincidence, huh? You might say. What can you say about episode 8 except the pain of humanity destroying itself, the nuclear bomb, all this evil, And then at the end of the movies, I call it movie. It was a movie, literally. Even that 1 hour alone, not just the 18 hours. Then you have this hope, this this, this young girl with this young boy, and even that goes sour. Wonderful. I mean, wonderful, horrible, obviously, but Lynch really plays with you in a way that transcends and goes beyond storytelling. He digs inside of you. This is storytelling. It doesn't dig inside of you. It just nourishes your gossipy need to know certain things. Does that make you a better person? No, I don't think it does. But interesting to note, yes, many people have already noted that the chapters all have this, all these classified files have a 119 on them. But even more interesting is that Twin Peaks The Return has 18 parts to it, and the book has 18 chapters to it. So I think Mark Frost, after Lynch kind of was done with editing and figured out how it was gonna be structured, he kind of wanted to mirror the show in a way. The book has 18. It's not a coincidence that the book has 18 chapters, and the series has 18 parts. But if you really notice how some of these chapters, I call them chapters, but they are files. Let's say it's a book of 18 files. And in fact, the TV show Twin Peaks The Return is not, Lynch didn't want to call it episodes, as these are not chapters. Those were parts, and these are cases or files. Some of them, you could see that they were actually supposed to be split in 2 files or 3, but I had the feeling he condensed them just to make it fit, so it's 18 files and 18 parts. So it's a bit off-putting in some parts, like for example, when you, where is it? Ray Monroe. So you're thinking, oh, okay, it's a chapter on Ray Monroe, so we're gonna find out a lot about Ray Monroe. But very soon he drifts off, Mark Frost, through the eyes and writing of Tammy or Tamara, drifts off, and we kind of lose track of Ray Monroe and start, reading more about Philip Jeffries actually, and about the Dutchman, and about Cooper, and so yes, it's Monroe, but it's also something else. The chapter today could have been also entitled in part Today and in part Sarah Palmer, because that's where in chapter 18, in file 18, which is today, so it's not a file on a person. Well, it is. It turns out to be Sarah Palmer, but also Laura Palmer, because the only sentence in the entire book that's written really in bold letters is Laura Palmer did not die. It feels artificial in some places. Now, listen, had I not seen season 3 and had read this alone or prior to watching season 3, maybe I would have thought differently of it, I think. Because in itself, I'm not against this book, and I will reread it because it does nourish my gossipy nature. It makes me want to, like every human being, it makes me want to kind of dig deeper and figure out, oh, maybe I missed something in a sentence Mark wrote about Lana. Maybe I can figure out through the codes. Or Annie Blackburn, 8:38 is the exact time when she says, I'm fine, or something like that. Did she say I'm fine or I'm okay? I think she says I'm fine. Like all these things, Lana communicating with Donna, was it Audrey? I'm forgetting now. No, Audrey communicated with Donna, but that's classified, so Tammy doesn't know what they spoke, what they said to each other. And then Lana got in touch with Donna, and that's also kept kind of a secret from us. But maybe it's a riddle that you can kind of solve by digging more into this book. It's well written. There's nothing wrong about it, except for the fact that I have the feeling that it's really placed right in opposite of of Lynch's vision of Twin Peaks. And I have the feeling instead of kind of Mark and Lynch collaborating more to create something that blends in together, they really split up. Like Lynch's strength is cinema, movies, TV, um, and Frost's strength is writing. And you literally like I don't know if this was an ego issue or what it was, but I mean because yeah, obviously this is a talent, and I don't have the Blu-ray set yet because it's coming out in December. That's another talent, and they're kind of like two separate entities, both earning their money related to these projects. These two separate projects that are both called in a way the same. So, so it feels awkward to me. I almost feel a little bit like out of place between two fires, between David on one side and Mark on the other. I love both of them. Um, I just have the feeling that they had like two separate children out of wedlock. In a, they're kind of related, but they don't really want to know much about each other. That's how it feels, and I'm the one kind of feeling uncomfortable because I would love to glue the pieces together, and I would love this to fit with the show, and I would love the show to fit with this. I think the show fits more with the book than the book with the show. If that makes any sense, because I think it's easier to um, like the book explains so much and too much, so it kills off certain dreams that you have and visions of the show. You know what I mean? But the show alone does not kill off aspects of the book. So in that respect, I think Lynch was probably didn't think about it, but it turns out that Lynch, was more respectful of this product than vice versa, because this product kills the series a little bit. A lot of you I've been reading online are thinking that this was what the show should have been. Like this helps reevaluate the show. Mostly the people that didn't like the show so much say that this kind of helped them reevaluate the show. I personally think it was not needed. It's it's a good read, nevertheless. It's juicy. It's like reading In Touch after you have read uh, some revealing philosophical book by Nietzsche. You know what I mean? Like you read Nietzsche, and then after that, you're going to read In Touch, touching base on certain topics that Nietzsche obviously knows how to talk about in a very different way, in a much more elevated manner. And then we have In Touch. Yeah, that's the way. In Touch magazine and Nietzsche. That's how I would compare the two. I don't mind reading In Touch from time to time. That's fine. And I can't always read Nietzsche. It's a heavy read. You know what I mean? Like one is there, one is there. They needed to collaborate more to balance. We don't need Nietzsche to be Nietzsche all the time, and In Touch doesn't have to be there all the time. They gotta meet. And that was always the beauty of Twin Peaks. At the end of the day, was that tacky, superficial telenovela, In Touch attitude to certain topics, characters, and storylines, juxtaposed to really complex notions of existentialism, of other worlds, realms, universes, energies, philosophies, from the Tibetans, Buddhism and transcendental meditation now, like you get that superficial telenovela, invitation to love. And then you have transcendental meditation and all that shebang that has nothing to do with superficiality. And they coexist and live in Twin Peaks. Now, of course, this time around, Twin Peaks was all about the transcendental, humongous, beyond otherworldly elevation. And the book is kind of invitation to love. And they had to merge more. So let me read your comments, guys. So many comments. Where to start? Melinda says, I was surprised that all of the answers were revealed like that. It's like it's over now. Nick says, Well, when you do the questions, Mark Frost's books do not count towards them. All right, Nick. Melinda says this book will satisfy the ones who wanted all of the answers. Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it was satisfying for me too, but it was also it killed something as well. You know. Nick says I watched episode 8 yesterday, and it is amazing. It is amazing. It's amazing. Nick says not sure why Tammy had to use the F word all the time. Well, Tammy? No, I mean in the series, the F word was actually with Diane was throwing the bomb, not Tammy. Um, Geiska says I was a little influenced by Twin Peaks in my last short movie. Check it later if you want. Oh, sure, I'll check it out. If I find the link again. Geiska says, do you think that they struggled for Twin Peaks meaning? Would love to see them talking about. I don't know. I think so. People are struggling for the meaning. I mean, David and Mark, I'm sure they both are very clear on what was what. They just had really different ways of representing it and showcasing uh, the same thing. And they should have collaborated more and merged it into one visual experience, in my opinion. Melinda says, yes, I always felt that the differences between Frost and Lynch are like night and day. Jessica says, Melinda, maybe they are the Black and the White Lodge. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Um, Melinda says, I'm glad I have the book, though. Oh, I'm glad, too. I mean, being a sucker for all things Twin Peaks in general, it's the first edition of the book. So, and I read it in one go. It's not like it took me, I read it in one go. And then the next day, my editing class, the film academy, I was dying. I was so tired because I read this thing through. So, but but I read it. I couldn't stop reading it. That's for sure because it was very juicy, in touch. Very in touch magazine. Melinda says Tammy seemed to be against Agent Cooper's actions. To me, more than Tammy feeling like she's against Cooper's actions, it felt like Mark Frost was using Tammy's voice to showcase the fact that he might have been against Lynch's decisions of where to take Cooper in season 3. Not every decision, but certain choices. And I think that's there's a little bit of a game going on there. That's also why we have the Tamara on one side and the Tammy on the other. And we've all noticed that there's a big difference between the Tammy Lynch film and the Tamara that Mark Frost describes in the book. And Melinda also read it in one night. Nick says David needs to do another 6 episodes or a few movies about going deep into the Black Lodge that he wanted to do back in the 90s. I think we've been deep in the Black Lodge. I mean, what can you do? You could just showcase more and more visuals, like be very visionary about how the Black Lodge can look, going more into depth about, all of those corridors and passages and realms that are part of the Black Lodge. But the intentions, the energies, the fears, and all these weird tensions that are in there already very deep rooted inside of us as we grew up with Twin Peaks and as we watched season 3. So he really got deep into the Black Lodge as far as intentions go and portrayal goes. So I think we're good with that. If anything, maybe he should dig deeper into the Judy story and what's the realm or the abstraction of a realm or the absence of realm where she comes from and lives. That's something that I really look forward to seeing. Let me see here. And Nick says, and let's see what happened while Laura was in the lodge for 25 years. Well, you see, as the book tells us, and this was the mystery I'm also mentioning in my title for this video, mystery revealed, you see, My theory is Laura was not in the lodge 25 years because Cooper changed that time. So as Tamara Preston realizes in Twin Peaks, um, after Bob has been defeated in 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 the sheriff's office station, Twin Peaks, she did some research, and the local newspapers portrayed Laura as missing. So we see in part 18 of the show that Cooper or Richard found Carrie Page or Laura. And so technically she wasn't in the Black Lodge if the newspapers also portrayed her as missing. Why is she missing? Because Cooper saved her. Now, he saved her, but then she vanished from his hands. So um, we're led to believe that he was leading her to the White Lodge, but then she disappeared for whatever reason. Because Judy managed to make her disappear, or because fate wanted her to go somewhere else, because by changing or modifying or manipulating time in a certain way, other repercussions follow that are also not really under your control. So you could just kind of poker game it a little bit, play the deck of cards and see what card you get back. And that was the card he was dealt. Or maybe it was Judy's plan all along. We don't really know. But what we do know is that Tamara tells us that everybody in the town of Twin Peaks and the local newspapers write that Laura disappeared, has been missing. We know that Cooper saved her. So she wasn't in the Black Lodge for 25 years. She was somewhere else. Now, whether or not Odessa was a sort of mystery, another aspect of the Black Lodge, maybe that was a Black Lodge in itself, a part of the Black Lodge, that's another story altogether, another possibility altogether. But we get an explanation about the Black under part of the Great Northern, all of a sudden disappearing from the sheriff's office, and Cooper being in the Black Corridor of the Great Northern, and then him disappearing and never reappearing again. Diane disappearing and also not reappearing again. Gordon Cole remembering, don't forget, Lynch tells us through Philip Jeffries in the show to Cooper that Gordon Cole will remember, even though time will change. And even though the timeline and the storylines will change, Gordon Cole will remember the original version of the facts. By this point, we don't even know what the original version of the facts is anymore, because as we know from the 90s that Laura Palmer was killed. And now we find out that you could change that and she wasn't killed. So this leads me to believe, and obviously just following a simple mathematical logical structure, it is also possible that prior to the 90s, there was another Laura Palmer story that hasn't been told yet to us, but already existed. So this loop of saving and failing and refailing to save and resaving and forgetting the past, remembering it, could have been going on for centuries, for all we know, prior to the 90s version of the death of Laura Palmer. The Owl Cave ring. Being with Lana, and yet also being with Ray, and yet also being with Mike, the one-armed man, and yet also being with Cooper. It's being passed on from person to person, but this also shows us that there are different timelines if there is only indeed one ring. But we all, we have seen images of the ring that are slightly different as well, so there might be several rings with slightly different depictions on them. Or is it a ring that is slightly different depending on the time frame in which we are, living out the story of Twin Peaks? Or are there indeed in the same timeline several rings with slight differences? Or it's always the same ring that just looks different from reality to reality? There's so many different options and possibilities. The revelation of the mystery for me at the end of the day is this. We have a certain vision of Mark Frost towards what Twin Peaks should be, and we have a vision of what Twin Peaks should be, by David Lynch. And the mystery to unlock these two different worlds is to unite them. And I guess it's up to us to work as glue. You're the glue. If you love these worlds, you're going to find your way to lock in the puzzle pieces, no matter how in touch or niche they might appear to be. That's the mystery, really. Because otherwise, you're not going to be satisfied. There's going to be people who are not liking the book, and there's going to be people who are not liking the show. That's at the end of the day what I think goes down. Melinda asks, do you think will there be a season 4? Nick says no. Melinda says, yeah, I'm feeling it's over. Nick says, let's see what happened before Cooper reverse time. Okay, well, first, as far as season 4 is concerned, yeah. Okay. Lynch also believes a lot of numbers. Numbers, numbers, numbers. We've seen so many numbers in season 3. 4 is not a good number to end things. And now you're going to say, oh, but that means there won't be a season 4. No, no. Mind you, we already have 4 Twin Peaks. Because Fire Walk with Me is like Twin Peaks 3. Chronologically, the time of Twin Peaks, for all we know, Fire Walk with Me could be season 10 because everything is going to mix and match. But from a chronological time point of our world, Fire Walk with Me was the third thing to come out, to be released after season 1 was over and after season 2 was over. Then comes Fire Walk with Me, which is kind of like a 3. Not a season 3, but portrayal 3. So indeed, The Return, Twin Peaks The Return, or Twin Peaks Limited Release, what do they call it? Limited Release show, whatever. They were so... I know that there was the first cover version when Lynch posted it on Twitter to say, like, oh, the Blu-ray of Twin Peaks Season 3 is going to come out in December. I know it said Season 3, but they quickly changed that as well to a limited event series or The Return. Right now it says limited event series, but we don't know if the cover is going to change it again. But nobody really was mentioning it as Season 3. Why? Because it wasn't really Season 3. It was a different thing. So we have indeed 4 of something. 4 is not a good number to turn things on. There has to be a 5. And I'm not saying season 5. I'm saying 5. Something 5, which could be a movie, which could be just a couple of episodes of something, which could be maybe a collection of snippets or things that haven't made the cut to the final show, but will become something else. But there will be more. I'm sure of that. Nick says, the second half of season 2, episode 10 to 22, should have been Laura's last week of her life. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I agree with you to a certain extent. Like, for example, I think yes, but it should have, if the last week of her life were to be portrayed within the TV show rather than within the movie, then it should have been portrayed differently. So, what I want to say is, I would have loved to see a flashback within the end of season 2, the last couple of episodes, as you say, Nick, of the last week of life of Laura Palmer. But then guess what I would have done? I would have still made Fire Walk with Me, and I would have done Fire Walk with Me, and I would have reshot the last week of life of Laura Palmer. Slightly different angle, everything different, and yet the same. That's what I would have done, and I would have loved to have seen the last week of Laura Palmer twice from the same story plot line, not from another timeline where perhaps something might have been altered in the past or future, you know? but just giving us hints of the possibilities that we might get in the future, meaning 25 years later with the filming new material. Like, just could you imagine how amazing? What I mean, it's always been a dream of mine to film the same thing, the same scene, uh, several times, and not just repeating the same shot the same day in different times and then editing that later on. No, I mean really shooting a scene or a movie and then letting it be and coming back a couple of months or a year later and then reshooting it or some of the scenes and re-editing them. So utilizing the new material and then also the old material. The old material from the shot a year ago and the scene is cut and edited and using that scene as is, depicting that particular time frame, and in the same time frame depicted with the new material. That would have been so juicy. I would have loved that. That, of course, money and the times and 90s, and it was all already too experimental. Um, Probably would have not been possible, but we are getting it now. Lynch did get his, finally, he got to do um, a switcheroo there. He managed to save Laura. He was always obsessed with her, but of course he couldn't give it just a happy ending. It wouldn't be Lynch if it were all happy in the end. It's as happy as Lynch can let it be happy in the end. Laura is alive, and that's what it is. She changed names. She lives in a trash hole somewhere in Odessa. She has huge issues in her life, but it's life, nevertheless, not death. So there you have it. I mean, Melinda says that sounds really cool. That would be amazing. Thanks, Melly. Yeah, it would be really cool. I would love. Could you imagine? Nick says, I think Lynch is happy. That's all, folks. But fans are not happy. I'm happy with the show. At the end of the day, I've made my peace with it, and as I said, it's the beauty of the energy in it that really attracts me to it, not the plot lines. Seriously. Um, this gave me quick answers. Maybe it would have been cool to read this book 10 years from now. I would have had 10 years to think about possible answers. But since this book came out, and since the internet is the way it is, and since everybody spoils it for everybody else, and everybody needs to review it to garner as many views as possible, it would have been really difficult for me to avoid this subject and this topic for a long period of time because um, I'm bombarded with this information from all sides. So it would have been impossible for me to be in total virgin territory from this book for more than a couple of months. It would have been impossible. So it was unavoidable for me, you know. But could you imagine though? I'm still happy we found stuff out. It's weird. I'm torn in a way. So what do you guys think? Simona says, I would love your version for film of Twin Peaks for sure. Well, listen, if they ever do a TV show and invite any other directors in to direct an episode or something, oh my God, are you kidding me? To die for. Would love it. Oh, I got also some news. So since, YouTube has been demonetizing a lot of videos and channels and stuff like that, you see, not every bad comes to kill you off. Because so interesting that Amazon just wrote me 3 days ago saying, hey, Dacob, we would like to invite you to be part of our influencer program, affiliate influencer program, something like that. So they gave me an opportunity to create my own page. And I posted the link down in the description box where you can kind of follow the link. And since this demonetization situation, a lot of you have been telling me, hey, Dacob, try to do Patreon, this and that to collect funds. And I might do that in the future. I don't know, but I'm really, as much as I can, I'm trying to postpone asking people for money. That's really not my thing. But I think to myself, I'm a person that shops a lot on Amazon. I really do. I mean, even this one came from there. So, and this one, and the DVD, and the Blu-ray, and all of the stuff, and the music, and the this and the that. But what I want to say is, um, if you do follow my link and then you buy whatever you want to buy, you're not spending more money than you would in any case. But I would get like a small percentage that Amazon would pay me, would say like, oh, thank you, Dacob, for bringing somebody to visit Amazon, And I thought, oh, well, that's something I could actually do because my people, my family won't have to economically suffer from it. But if you guys like Amazon anyway, you could follow my link in the description box, and then you don't have to buy the stuff that I just like show you stuff I love. Either I basically have a list of stuff I bought. You could see the camera I film with. You could see the lights I use to film with, the lenses, um, the tripods for the lights, all that shebang. But also like my favorite movies, from Orson Welles to Stanley Kubrick. Of course, David Lynch is there as well. The Golden Girls are there. Books on Chanel, particularly the special ones, the ones I love the most. So you could see a list of things that I suggest, that I love, that I personally own. But also, you could just drift off to other directions and interests and end up buying a comb for yourself, whatever. But it's still Amazon is going to be thankful. They're going to be like, oh, thanks, Dacob, you brought a person to us, whatever. But I have created for the occasion of the upcoming release of Twin Peaks limited time event series or season 3 or the return, whatever you want to call it. I call it season 4. But anyway, I created a little like special selection of all Twin Peaks things I love. Included are, these cards. There's a link to where to find these cards on Amazon because they're not so easy to find on Amazon. They're really hidden. Or, the CDs. I'm loving these so much. I'm listening to them still every day, the Twin Peaks, the 2 CDs, the 2 albums. And I found the vinyl versions that are picture discs. So that limited edition is there as well. I'm really loving that. Both of the books are of course there as well because I have them too. So I'm like, you should read them to understand like what really is good or bad about them. Some Hitchcock stuff is there as well, and the Funko Pops. They're super cute. All the toys. Oh, there's a really cute pin of an owl in all like spacey colors on the list as well. So check it out. Maybe find something you like. But yeah. So what was we saying? Nick says book was not good. Season 3 was great, but not amazing. And then Nick says, I feel like I'm negative. You are a little bit negative, but don't worry. Just breathe. Let it go through you. It's okay. We're not gonna let any negativity poison us, right, Nick? So Melinda says, I knew you wouldn't like it, Nick. Oh my God, I buy on Amazon all the time. Oh, Melinda, well, then just go through my link. You go to the link, sweetie dolly. Go to the link. Thanks, Melly. Yeah, Melinda is always a great support. Oh, and let me know about Poison as soon as it comes. Yeah, the Twin Peaks items. And Melinda would like to purchase more Twin Peaks items. Nick says, Windswept was in my ear today. Oh, I will check it all out. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This was my review of the final dossier. I will be, oddly enough, rereading it, trying to dig into finding deeper meanings behind things. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I will be rereading it for that reason, mostly. Not for other reasons. It's just that I want depth. I'm looking for more depth. So that's that. If you haven't already, but do wish to, please consider subscribing to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat from time to time. Super Dacob, all spelled together. So I will see you very soon. I have a lot of things to talk about Twin Peaks related. Nick has prepared over 300 questions, and that's going to be a juicy live stream video where I will be reading all of the questions and we will be touching base on each and every one of them. Nick has separated them per part, episode or part of of the show, of the 2017 Twin Peaks show. So that's something to look forward to. And then, of course, the release of the Blu-ray set, which the Blu-ray will be a limited edition packaging. The DVD won't. So I'm really curious to see the differences of those two. Like, what did they create for the Blu-ray as opposed to not creating for the DVD set? Sounds awkward to me that they would. I don't know. But anyway, looking forward to that. Gaska says, I am fun of your Twin Peaks lives. Oh, thank you so much. Melinda can't wait for the question videos. Um, oh, Nick says, thanks always. Thank you, Nick, too. Oh, yeah. Add me on Snapchat. Yeah, guys. So take care. I'm going to try to stop. I don't even know how to stop streaming at this point. Take care, everybody. Love you so much. Bye. See you in the Black Lodge.